So in this section, I'm just going to give a brief overview of Stellarium and how easy it is to work. Now, all you need to do is Google stellarium.org. Get this to go, stellarium.org. And it brings you to this page, and you can download the latest version, and it's free. It's free access, and it's designed by archaeoastronomers. So it's very easy to use. There's even an app for your phone which you can use. That costs a couple of quid, but the online one is better, and yeah, very easy. Massive help section as well, but it's really useful for the archaeoastronomer. Basically, when you start it up, you'll be presented with the sky as it is now. So as I'm writing this doing this in the middle of the afternoon, it's showing the sky in kind of Whitstable this afternoon. So no stars to be seen. And you can just click up the time and date tab, and then that allows you to change the date. So you can see what the stars were doing on your birthday if you want, or click right back to BC. So if you want to see what the stars are like this evening, I'll put it on for Monday evening when some of you might be watching this. So Monday evening, if you look to the southeast, you should see Saturn and Jupiter rising about 5 to 11. So they should be quite, unless it's raining, those should be quite clear stars to see. But we're interested in the deep past, and so what you can also do is to put a minus on the date and find yourself, let's say, 2500 BC, the date of the building of the pyramids or of the building of the trilithons at Stonehenge. And here you can highlight the constellations. So if you want to see the familiar shapes, you can see we're looking towards Aquarius and Pisces. But obviously, when I'm investigating ancient sites, I'm not interested in what's happening in Whitstable. Not many stone circles in Whitstable. So what I have done, and you have to do this manually, is to find places that you're interested in. So, for instance, Yavering. I'm going to use Yavering as an example. It's a hill fort in Northumbria, but there's quite a neat astronomical event that happens there in the 3rd millennium BC. But as it was one of the sites I had to investigate from a PhD, I found the longitude and latitude of Yavering and the altitude of the henge that I was looking at, put those in, and it takes you there. So we're now in Yavering. The sky is not that much different from Whitstable, to be fair. You can't quite see the bottom of these same constellations as you could in Whitstable because you're further north. But what I need to do now is to put in the correct landscape for Yavering. And to do this, I go into a separate program called Horizon, which is also available online. If you Google Horizon Astronomy Software, it's a free downloadable piece of software. And what it does, it uses satellite and shuttle data from NASA to reconstruct, which is kind of a record of the Earth's surface and the different heights of the surface in different places. And basically, you can put any place on Earth, and it will build a horizon as seen from that point. So I've already done that, and there's something within the program where I can just export it to Stellarium, which is very easy to do because I'm not technically minded, but I manage this. I then go into the search tab in here, looking for a landscape. You can see here that all the landscapes that some of them I've put all these in, but some of them I have: Woodhenge, Thornborough, Sanctuary. All these places are places I put in, and so it then reconstructs that image of the horizon as if I was standing in Yavering. And here we are. So you see the horizon is massively different because you're looking south towards a huge hill, later an Iron Age hill fort and an Anglo-Saxon camp called Yaverin, which is Hill of the Goat. This is it from a slightly better angle. So you're looking towards this hill. This is where the henge is. It's in the shadow of this hill. And it's so positioned that you can't actually see the sun at all at midwinter because it's rising and setting behind this hill. But what I did find when I was looking at what you could see from I was playing around with dates. It was built around, this end of the 3rd millennium BC. I found that the figure of Orion was seen climbing the hill, like the Grand Old Duke of York, with Sirius running, his dog, running along behind him, running right over the hill. And it's such a neat image and astronomical phenomena that you have to argue that the henge was put there to capture this for some midwinter ritual where Orion was seen to walk on England's mountains green almost. And here at the end of the night, not at the end of the night, about 1:30 in the morning, you see that Sirius is setting. There's the moon up there. But what Stellarium allows you to do, and this is why it's such a good program as opposed to other ones, is that because it was designed by archaeoastronomers, they put in the locations and the rising and setting points of important astronomical days. And so there's a bar down here. It looks a bit like a tab with looks like Stonehenge, with the sun rising through it, designed on purpose like that. And here you can see highlighted different lines representing the position of the sunrise or of the moonrise on certain days, special astronomical days of the year. So here, this is the path of the sun at the equinox. Beyond out of shot is the midsummer sunrise, but the midwinter sunset is actually behind the hill, sunrise and sunset. But what this does is it enables you to look at a landscape just very briefly and see the position of certain astronomical events. So you could look at this and you could say, well, hang on a minute, the minor lunar standstill, that rolls along the top of the hill as well. So there's possibly a lunar connection as well. That's why they put the henge here. So it's not just a stellar one with Orion. There's also a lunar thing, like in Callanish. And here, this is Snowdonia, as seen from Bryn Celli Ddu, passage grave on Anglesey. And it was on looking at this that I realised that this red line here is the path of the sun on the winter solstice. And I realised that the sun was rising in the Llanberis Pass between Snowdonia and Llanberis. And when you flick through the dates to find sunrise, you can witness the sunrise as it would have been seen, as it can still be seen now from Bryn Celli, or it would at least if there wasn't a forest in the way. Unfortunately, you can't see this view because of the trees in the landscape. But it does show what this program is capable of, and how good it is at reconstructing the ancient sky. So you can answer questions such as, if you know that there's an entrance at 220, at Stonehenge. If you've got, sorry, I've missed a slide out here, but let's say you've got your grid here, and that's like 0 degrees, 180 degrees south at Stonehenge. There's your landscape at Stonehenge, and you'll find you've got an entrance around here at 200 degrees. You then click through the software, find the date, and then you can just run through a night and see what exactly is setting at this point. So that's what I did, and that's what we're going to look at in the next part.